going on, guys? It is the UFC 261 Fight Week edition of the MMA Junkie Twitter Mailbag. It is Friday, April 23rd, the eve of UFC 261, where we will see 3 title fights, but that's not all. The return of fans as well. It will be interesting to hear pops and audience roars when there's knockouts and knockdowns and submissions and brawls. So, relatively exciting there. And we'll have 3 people down there. Ken Hathaway, Mike Bond, and John Morgan will be providing you coverage all weekend long. So stay tuned for that. But before we get to that, we have to get to this, which is the MMA Junkie Twitter Mailbag. First question, Emrit Nanda. What do you feel Masvidal will do different this time around? In the later rounds, Usman steps it up. Would Masvidal's cardio hold up? I'm not a big fan of people that make excuses after fights, but I think that there is legitimacy to reasoning. Any fighter that loses has to go back and figure out what they did wrong. And if they can solve those problems, maybe they can do something right. And for Masvidal, now he has a sample size. He went 5 rounds with Usman on a fight that he took on a week's notice. And I do think that will play a factor. Masvidal was halfway in and halfway out of training camp during the preparation when he got the call to fight Usman the first time. And I don't think that's something that should be taken lightly. Now, is it going to make as big of a difference where he can go out there and beat Usman now? I think that's more of a leap for me. And I still think Kamaru will win. I think it'll be a unanimous decision. But perhaps Masvidal can have bigger moments, better moments, and more success than he did in the first fight, because that was pretty one-sided. Second question from Santiago at Edit Tape. We all know the chances of Street Judas getting 50-45 are damn high. But what else do you think will be left for him after losing 2 consecutive title shots? Okay, so clearly somebody out here, supporting or believing in Kamaru Usman, picking him to win, which is what I did as well. And that does put Jorge Masvidal in an interesting situation. And it's almost unfortunate that first fight happened on short notice, because I feel like that was Masvidal's moment. That was going to be his big buildup. And he never got that. He looked like a superstar for the few days leading up to the fight, and then he lost, and I feel like momentum just kind of died. So he's going to have to try to look for something like, something to spark his momentum again. And looking at the options that are available, Colby Covington's next in line for the winner, so I don't think that could be immediately next. But if Colby were to lose to Usman when they fight, I think that's a rivalry fight that we need to see before all is said and done, Colby and Jorge. Other options, the Nate Diaz rematch is something that the UFC was interested in at one point, so I think that's kind of an evergreen matchup that they can make. But outside of that, it will be difficult. It will be difficult to find something that's meaningful for Jorge in terms of his star power, in terms of elevating him back up. But welterweight has a lot of good fighters, man. So contender fights are always available there. Next question comes from Biggs Omega. Do you think fans being back at full capacity will affect referee and judging, booing a fence, clinch, or wrestler? I don't think referees or judges will be as affected as the fighters who have consistently competed in an empty arena. I think those are the people involved that are going to be most affected, right? Because you go from having this audience or having some smaller stage. Back when things were normal, fighters would compete in front of audiences. So when they got to the UFC, it would be a little bit of a bump up, is what I'm trying to say. Now they're going from, oh yeah, my first UFC experience, it was like fighting in an empty room. And now they're going to go out in front of a sold out house of pent up MMA fans who haven't seen people punch each other in the face live for a year and compete. And I think that's a big jump. They lost their ability to be used to the crowd noise to a certain degree, and now they're being thrown right into the deep end of the pool. So I don't think that, to answer your question, I don't think referees and judges will be affected as much, because Florida, there have been, events going on. Maybe some of the refs, like the big name refs that don't usually ref in Florida, maybe they'll be more affected by it. But I think the judges and, the referees that have been doing the local scene won't be phased. Next question from Dat Dude Jr. If the Bullet is able to defeat Jessica Andrade Saturday night, what's left for her at 125 pounds? Is a Nunes trilogy bout next? I think that if Jessica goes out there, if Valentina goes out there and wins, I do think there's one more challenge left, but the cards have to play out right at 125 pounds, which is Lauren Murphy. I know a lot of people are down on her skills. They maybe don't believe in her, but she's earned it. If she goes out there and beats Joanne Calderwood, she has done enough to earn a title shot. It's plain and simple. There's no arguments, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, in the promotion's eyes, I think she's been a good soldier too, where, she hasn't really complained and she's been in a top position for a while and she keeps taking fights. So I think that that's the fight that will need to be made. And conversely for Amanda, I mean, if Aspen Ladd goes out and beats Macy Chiasson, I think that that's a fight that they could put on at 135 pounds. So I think one win for each of these fighters, one more title defense after UFC 261, after the fights that are booked. So you got Nunes versus Pena, you got Valentina this weekend against Jessica Andrade. I think they'll each have to take one more title fight, and that will set them up for a super fight. At that point, I think the divisions will be on a little bit of a pause where a lot of the contenders have lost to the champions, should the champions not be upset. So that's kind of the way I see things playing out, and we'll have to tune into UFC 261 to see if I'm right. So appreciate the time, guys. Check out all our coverage like I referenced at the beginning of this video, and until next time, enjoy the fights.